The 1 year, okay, nobody wants to give him more than 1 year. But $15 million guaranteed? And he can make another 3 with incentives. Reachable incentives, they say. So, number one, good on Odell. I can't believe he got that much cash guaranteed. I would never give Odell Beckham $15 million guaranteed at this point in his career, coming off of that injury. No way. But the Ravens, as we were just talking about, are the only team ever to not draft a Pro Bowl wide receiver. Now, granted, the Ravens are only around since 96, 95, 96. So it's not like they're the Colts or the Giants, but still, I mean, they just can't figure out drafting Pro Bowl wide receivers. So they've had to spend on them or get by. Mark Andrews is a really good tight end. They've had really good tight ends. They've drafted and developed those guys, but not wide receivers. So they're a little desperate of that realm. They're not good at that. They're not like the Steelers who just spin the wheel every year and draft another Pro Bowl wide receiver. So they're desperate. And maybe some of this is desperate to convince Lamar that this is where he wants to be. But I actually look at this as good news for Ravens fans for one of two reasons, of which I don't know which is the right one, but one of the two. Either the Ravens spent $15 to $18 million on Odell Beckham because they're confident Lamar Jackson is going to be a Raven, or Odell Beckham signed with the Ravens because he's confident Lamar Jackson's going to be throwing him the football. Because, yeah, it's a lot of money. But is Odell signing up to go anywhere for Tyrod Taylor to throw him passes all season? Because he needs this year to be his jumping off point for his next contract. This year, he's not going to get 1 year at $15 million again next year. He's going to have to have proven something this season. So to get his long-term deal, this has to be a productive year. If it's Tyrod Taylor? Or no, Snoop Huntley, right?
I was going to say, Tyrod Taylor's my quarterback.
You're right.
Snoop Huntley.
Is he signing up for 17 games of Snoop Huntley? Again, the money was really good. It is shockingly good. So did Odell say, oh, who cares? I'll just take the cash now. But he needs this season. So, I don't know. We saw the freeze frame of last night, Lamar and Odell FaceTiming one another. Would the Ravens give $15 million to a guy to play wide receiver if Snoop Huntley was their quarterback?
I don't think so.
Now, you might say, well, yeah, Snoop will need more help. But this just felt to me to be a block, a piece of this puzzle, a block in this blockchain where it fits together that they brought in Odell, and Odell wants to be in Baltimore because Lamar is going to be a Raven. And Lamar has hit all types of stoplights en route to his fully guaranteed contract that he desires. Nobody's giving it to him. He got franchise tag. Nobody's negotiating with him. Nobody wants to give the draft picks for him. Nobody wants to give him the money. He's even now had his sources, whoever he leaks this stuff to, say he doesn't even want a fully guaranteed deal anymore. So he's come off of that. And now it's just been about being angry at the Ravens. And all along the way, the Ravens have not engaged in anything combative or antagonistic. We love him. We want him to play here. We think he's a great guy. John Harbaugh saying he's got great leadership. I want to coach him. I love the dude. So they've said all the right things. And then last week, the press conference, as close to antagonistic as it could be, just saying we don't want to answer questions about the quarterback position and saying we'd have to look at drafting a QB. But aside from that, they've played this down the middle of we want him back. We don't want to create a war. We love him, blah, blah, blah. I saw this last night and said this. If Odell just signed a deal to play with Snoop Huntley and the Ravens just spent $15 million for a wide receiver on a 6-win team, both sides are pretty stupid. Would both sides be that dumb? And again, if Snoop Huntley is the quarterback of the Ravens, what are they next year? 7-10? Maybe? Odell signing on a 7-10 team just because it's a lot of money? Maybe. Would a 7-10 team spend $15 million on a wide receiver? This, to me, at some point, Mraz, I think, points to somebody there is confident Lamar Jackson under center in September.
Yes. I mean, I hate to translate it this way because we've had the Joe Douglas thing as well, but I have to think that the Jets knew what kind of other offers were out there for Odell Beckham, including this offer from the Ravens. And I have to think that Odell wasn't planning on flying there unless he thought that there was a chance they can meet some kind of regard. So I don't think it's solely on money, but what I do think is Odell probably combined money with more certainty in Baltimore than New York that he will have a competent quarterback throwing to him to help him earn money down the road.
Oh, that's interesting. You think that Odell thinks it's a better bet that Lamar is a Raven than Aaron Rodgers is a Jet?
I do.
Really?
I do. That was the way I walked away from this yesterday, man. The more and more days that go by, I'm not saying that Rodgers won't end up with the Jets, but I think there's starting to be belief around the league that that is not a sure thing. That maybe the Jets are very sure about this, but people, these agents talk to agents. I don't think it's as big a lock right now as it is, and I think that probably speaking, Odell and his camp, in speaking with Lamar, whoever, feels there's a greater chance. And again, the money is still a big deal. Who knows what the Jets would have offered? The combination of that much guaranteed money and I know who my quarterback is next year. I'm not so sure I'll go there and I'll know who my quarterback is in Baltimore and with the Jets.
Wow, that's interesting. I feel more confident Aaron Rodgers is a Jet than I think Lamar Jackson is a Raven.
Well, remember, one's currently already technically under contract.
Yeah. No, I should walk that back. I'm confident they'll both be where they are. I think that I believe Lamar is going to be a Raven and Aaron Rodgers is going to be a Jet.
Look, ultimately, do I think that probably is what happens? Yes, but I do think there's a better chance it falls apart with the Jets than Lamar actually doesn't end up playing with the Ravens. And I think Odell knows that.
Odell could be signing up for 10 weeks of Snoop Huntley, though. And
Pro
then Lamar,
Bowler, though.
And then Lamar comes back to make sure he qualifies for that year of service like Le'Veon Bell did.
Yeah, he definitely could be. That could very well be on the table. And, with Odell, maybe it really is ultimately just money based.
But he needs this year to be good. If he's ever going to get another contract, this year has to be productive. So if he's playing on a Ravens team that throws 12 passes a game because they're just running the football incessantly, and Snoop Huntley is, a bottom 10 starting quarterback in the NFL, his value craters again. He's got to think that Lamar Jackson is going to be his quarterback. He has to.
How much also does it have to do with the fact that if he's a Jet, he's competing for touches with the offensive rookie of the year, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Mecole Hardman, if they keep Corey Davis, whereas with the Ravens, he's competing with, outside of Mark Andrews in the receiving core, Rashad Bateman and Devin Duvernay.
That's true, too.
Yep. Way more touches, way more chances to be the number one receiver.
A chance to show, hey, I was the number one. I'm not just a number two or number three the rest of my career. That is true.
But he needs Lamar. He can't think that Snoop Huntley is going to get him to a Pro Bowl.
And maybe by the 1 year, maybe Lamar also realizes he needs Odell. Because, one of the biggest knocks on Lamar has been, you're constantly getting hurt. You're an electrifying runner. What is you at all as a passer? People still have these doubts. If he goes and he puts up great passing numbers with Odell Beckham Jr., maybe that's Lamar's best path to getting all that guaranteed money beyond this year.
So you hit on something important here. There's a lot of people that think this is just a desperate swing by the Ravens to try to woo Lamar. See, we got Odell for you. Don't you want to change your mind now? That this is their last bouquet of roses they're throwing at the feet of Lamar Jackson, which is distinctly possible. The salary is outrageous for him. $15 million guaranteed for Odell on one leg? So maybe this is just desperation time. Your girlfriend, whatever, saw you talking to your ex or something, and now she's about to leave you, and you're just in desperation mode trying to buy her whatever she wants.
True. I do have to say, though, saying, for Beckham on one leg, I think that's a little unfair. He's got
1 3/4 left.
But it's a full year removed. Usually the full year after you remove is when you should be your best. Now, you could question
but
how much.
His second one.
I know. No, you could question how much burst he has left. It's hard to say he's basically going to go out there on one leg. I mean, it should be fully repaired as a pristine athlete by now.
A lot of injuries to him, though.
Oh, and look, I would definitely not pay him the money. It's a matter of the burst more than anything to me.
If Lamar Jackson is not the starting quarterback in Baltimore, all sides look pretty stupid. The Ravens look pretty stupid for signing this deal for Odell. Odell looks pretty stupid for signing this deal and playing on a below mediocre team, a bad team. And Lamar might look bad as well, going, well, you got a coach that wants you. You've got an offensive system that's going to be tailored around you. You have an organization that consistently is a winner. They've given you a number one wide receiver potentially. You have a really good tight end in a city that loves you. And you looked around and you couldn't get more money anyway. So, I mean, if Lamar leaves, it does make him look pretty silly, I think.
For sure at this point. For sure it does. But again, another team would have to offer 2 firsts for him to begin with.
What's that?
Another team would have to offer the Ravens 2 first-round picks to begin with on top of that.
Right.